anyone here has your own audience? You have an email list, not yet. You have your name cards, maybe, past customers. All right, let me start with a quick little story, right? In July, I was going home after work one day. Being a marketer I'm always on Facebook, looking at what's going on. And then suddenly my screen started flashing. And then I saw the thing, your account has been banned. And then I received this little email. It was July 2nd, you can see that, right? Appeal this within 180 days. If not, you're gone. The way to appeal this is to just click one button, that's it. There's no reasoning, you can't send any messages and all that. And keep in mind, there's a few kinds of bans on Facebook. You have your business manager bans, you have your ad account ban, and the worst of all, your personal account ban. I'm in the personal account ban category. And then after 4 hours later, I got reinstated. So, okay, happy days. And then the next day, I was back after work again, and the same thing happened. I was scrolling, it shows me banned again. And this time, no luck. I was Facebook jailed. So right now, I do not have a profile on Facebook. But this is not just annoyance, It's critical because I run a lot of ad accounts, a lot of ads for clients. And basically, I cannot access my business manager because if you have a business manager on Facebook, it's tied to your personal account. Right? So if you do not have a personal account, you cannot access anything under Meta. So luckily, I still have access to my Instagram account. For some weird reason, I don't know why. A lot of people around the world, in Malaysia, in the States, everywhere else, they also have this sort of like disablements that they feel is unfair. My reason for being disabled was because I was human trafficking. Do I look like a human trafficker? No, right? So what was I doing was I ran some ads for a recruitment agency who was recruiting people in Malaysia over to places like US, places like Saudi Arabia, Singapore. The one that got flagged was Saudi Arabia. So bad luck. I'll introduce myself to you. My name is Ruben. I am a marketer and entrepreneur. I run a company called Daily CMO. We are a platform for marketing. Actually, we are also an agency, so we help people with their marketing strategies. And we also run workshops, and we also run cool little conferences called Underdog.con, which is a conference for marketers and also business owners. Every time we talk about a different topic in marketing. So we had one under advertising, we had one under influence marketing, we had one under content marketing, and so forth and so on. Today, my mission is to get you from rented space. You know what's rented space? Rented space is things like Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. I find that a lot of business owners, they market and run a business 100% on those platforms. But that's very, very risky. I'm not saying that you should jump totally 100%, but take some and put into your own space, right? So you're going to go for rented space into your own space. Now, what is own space? Own space, in my definition, is people that you can contact in just 1 click or 2 clicks, which is like your emails, phone numbers, and your audience, basically, right? I'm sure all of you who are running businesses, you do have an audience. Maybe they're just a little bit dirty, you have not cleaned up in a while. Daily CMO is basically an email newsletter as well. We send a daily marketing newsletter to our audience every single day. So I personally write these emails and I send one email every single day. Now, I'm not saying that you should send emails every single day like me, but you can do something like maybe once a week or bi-weekly, or at very least once a month to keep in touch with your audiences. So they look like this. I put a lot of my face out there because I believe that the future of brands is a personal brand, where you have to put yourself out there. There are a few ways you can start using emails. I use Ghost. The platform is literally called Ghost platform. Right? It's a newsletter platform, but I've seen a lot of people using Substack. One of the best platforms I would suggest to you would be Engine Mailer. It's a Malaysian-made email marketing platform, and I have a code here for you to lift up the usage to 10,000 emails per day. In any market out there, there are 3% of people looking to buy whatever that you are offering right now. Now, another 70% is in the information gathering mode. So let's just say you are selling an EV car, right? 17% of people will be like, oh, I'm getting information about the best EV car to buy, but I'm not ready to buy it. So if you run an ad to me, asking me to buy a car, I'm just not ready. Then we have 20% who is problem aware. Oh, I need a vehicle to go from A to B, but I just not solution aware. Should I buy an EV? Should I buy a normal car? Or what? Should I buy a bicycle? Right? You're not problem aware. And then there's 60%, they totally don't know that they have this problem. So your job as a marketer or a business owner is to reach these people, 97 of them, and lower down their skepticism. The framework is simple. To build your own audience, one is you collect. Now, a lot of business owners like to use the word capture. We capture our audience, but I don't really like war kind of terminologies in marketing, right? It sounds very selfish. We capture, we target people, bombard them, blast. So collect them, we nurture them, and then we convert them. So collect, nurture, and convert. One of the most popular way of doing this, you probably have heard before, is a lead magnet. Any one of you here do not know what a lead magnet is. I'm willing to bet that even if you don't know a lead magnet, you have taken a lead magnet before? Have you signed up for this before? 1 month free back then? Now no more because they have their audience already, right? But back then, when they first launched, not very long, they had this 1 month free for 1 ringgit or something like that. What was this? A lead magnet. A lead magnet is a chance for you to consume a business offering and then get addicted. Oh, I need this as a solution. So if you think about your own business, what is some lead magnets you can create for your customers? Now, some examples for makeup, right? My wife used to buy this very expensive makeups, which I have no idea why it cost so much. I think Sisley, right? Have anyone use Sisley? You know, one bottle costs near 1,000, some of them. Because how do Sisley get customers? What they do is they give us the smaller little bottles that looks like this, like 5 ml, for them to try a little bit, get addicted, and then they buy the full thing. That's a lead magnet also, in my opinion. If you sign up for gym trials, now then there's Anytime Fitness. I'm sure they offer like, oh, come for 3 days to get you into trying out their products and services. Now, we need these sort of things in our business today. Some of you who likes productivity, you probably put in an email here as well, right? To download his first chapter and just try sikit lah. And then maybe throughout your journey, few months later, you actually buy the book in the bookstore. This is also a lead magnet. This is one of our work for our clients. So they basically download an educational piece to learn something, right? This client was selling a service, right? They're not selling a product. So they give away a lead magnet in the form of a guide to learn something. This was also, I'm inside there, right? This is another one. A lead magnet should solve a problem, an immediate problem, one only, in under 15 minutes. So one big mistake that a lot of businesses do is they create lead magnets. They think lead magnets is PDF guidebooks. So they create this long 40 pages guidebook which solve no problem. And of course, your customers don't like it because it doesn't solve the problem. Back then, 4 or 5 years ago, data science was a new hot thing in the market. Every company want to learn data science. Now it's AI, right? When you become a data scientist, your salary shoots up, right? That's the main benefit, right? So we created a lead magnet, which is a short 30 minutes video training. The format doesn't really matter. That shows them how to break the data science career. That's it. A lot of people do this. E-commerce stores as well. Sign up to our newsletter. Is this a lead magnet? It's not a lead magnet because it doesn't give you any benefits at all. All right, a lead magnet should solve one problem, one very strong problem in just 15 minutes or less. You know, one of the best lead magnets I've seen in my life, it sounds something like this. The title is just, how to know if a girl want to kiss you. Guys here, I'm sorry for the ladies here, but guys, right? Wouldn't you want to know what makes a girl want to kiss you? You want to, right? So it was a PDF, and then what they do is like, you enter your email and see the guide. Okay, so the first thing to do is you want to collect a database of audiences, and the way to do that is to create a lead magnet. Now, the next thing that I've always noticed business owners do is that now they have an email list, and you probably have like old customers as well, but you do nothing with them. When I ask them why, they'll say, but what do I send? This is a problem that I've seen every businesses I work with, right? So what do I send? If you look at the normal population today, right, what are they doing? Like this is a picture I think in Japan many years ago. Even then, what are they doing? Today, if you go to LRT, MRT, what do you see people doing? They are on your phones, right? Why? Why are they on the phones? A lot of these people, they are bored. So we use our phone to dull our boredom, right? They're just bored. They go on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, hoping to find something that would give them some light, right? Because they're very bored. For us as business owners and marketers, what we do is we add to this boredom. Look at my email inbox in the promotions tab. I have too many emails as a marketer, so I don't read them. But what do you notice from these emails here? Let's just say I click, what do you think is going to happen inside the email? Okay, all of us intuitively know when we click on that email, they're going to sell something. You know that, right? You don't need to think also, you don't need to see the words also, you know they're going to sell something already. And this adds to the boredom, right? And yet, when we send emails to our customers, we do the exact same thing. Any of you knows this doctor? And if you look back and think back in your schooling days, right? You remember not all the teachers, but 1 or 2 teachers that are really fun. Okay, what do they have in common? They're entertaining, right? So if you send any sort of messages, marketing message, ad, or even text message or email on there, your main job is to be entertaining. If I want to teach you something today and I cannot get your attention, you'll never learn anything. Before something is learned, you need attention. So attention is like everywhere. You need it in marketing, you need it in business. In teaching, you also need attention. So if I come here like, hey guys, you won't learn anything. So she's amazing at getting attention, right? And because she can get attention, she's able to teach that lesson. And we all remember her. You guys remember her, all right? So first of all, we have to be entertaining, all right? Now, when I say this to business owners, they say like, but I'm not like this doctor here. I cannot dance in front of TikTok. I cannot dance on Facebook and all that, all right? And the thing is, you don't have to, but we have to make people look forward to want to open up our emails and to read our emails. For those of you who have done some email marketing, what's a good email open rate? 20%. That's the industry standard, right? Now, I think if people do not open your emails above 30%, they do not want to read your emails. Okay, we have to achieve somewhere near 30 and above. Now, the best email in the world had just one word in the title. raised over 690 million USD. This is the best email in the world. But if you Google it, you find it, right? The best single email title is sent by Barack Obama. And if you notice the difference in this email and many emails you see out there is that, one, it feels like someone sent you a personal message. And then the email is personal. It's not filled with brochures, colors, and all that kind of thing. And that's why the email operators are super high. And through this one, he raised 690 million. Amazing. The second concept I want to share you today. You all know the story of the rabbit and the tortoise? My question to you is, how come you can remember this story and not the other hundreds of emails you receive on a daily basis? So if you combine these two, right, being entertaining, right, and telling a story, that's how you create messages, whether it's email, WhatsApp, or ads that people will remember, right? Because all you remember a story. If you're going to send emails today, and I suggest you do this, right, you start off with a story. But you don't tell a story like a teacher, you tell a story with a purpose. The framework here is 5, right? There's 5 things. You need to lead in with a hook, right? I'm going to teach you what is a hook, story, a principle, a transition, and then a call to action where you normally sell or upsell your products and services, okay? This is done in the email context, but you can take this and borrow this for different sort of like use cases. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about a hook. ChatGPT will tell me things like, oh, a hook is an attention-grabbing element. What you say that's so. Oh, a keystone hook is immediate attention, right? Which is great. But how do I do that? So the best definition I heard about a hook is this, right? A hook is something that someone sees or hears that creates multiple questions in their mind that they cannot help to answer, but they click. So they click. Okay? I'm going to show you some examples because if I tell you this, you're like, what are you talking about? Okay, I'll show you some examples I took from Business Insider. Now we know Warren Buffett's 1.8 billion secret. Now when you see that headline, right, what happens? At least a few questions comes in your mind. What's the secret? Will it help me? Will it be useful for me to spend my 10 minutes reading this thing? How did they find out this 1.8 billion secret? What did they do? These are questions that fires into our mind. If we cannot help it, we click to see what is it. Now another one here. Mr. Beast ex-staffer shares one word he never wants to hear. What question comes to your mind? What's that one word, right? I want to know this one word, right? So it creates questions in our mind that we cannot help but want to answer. So we click. Okay, so whenever we create a hook, whether it's a video, whether it's a text or whatever, you want to ask yourself this question. What is top 3 questions that this creates? If there's no questions, it's not a hook. Okay, so let's look at an example, right? So you know how to create a hook now. I'm going to show you how to create a story, a principle, transition, and call to action, and you'll see how to apply this in all your marketing messages, okay? So number 1, the technique here is to tell a story that is very bland and very boring. From speaking to a lot of business owners, I ask them to tell a story about them, and say, I'm very boring. I don't have anything interesting to tell. I'm nobody. But the truth is, you can tell a story from your simple, everyday, boring life. Number 2, we go into the principle. What is something that you learn from that story? So we all know the rabbit and the tortoise, right? And the principle is slow and steady wins. And we remember that through the story. Then we transition to your product or services that you're going to sell, and then you make the call to offer. Now let's look at this in example, but it's very simple. Hook, story, principle, transition, call to action. Okay, so let me show you, right? Personal story. Okay, let's go. Ready? It's your business tau fu fa. I admit that it's not a very good hook. So it's a business tau fu fa. You'll be asking questions. What do you mean by business tau fu fa, right? Very basic, bland, boring story. I've simplified it, yeah? The other way, I went to Pasar Malam, I saw some tau fu fa stores. One said bean curd in sugar water. The other said silky smooth, organic bean curd, tau fu fa. Which one do you buy? The second one, right? Exactly, right? So what's the principle here? The principle here is people don't buy good products, they buy what sounds good. Okay, from here, how do we then transition to our product or offer? Here's how I do it. If you're not making what you sell sound as good as it actually is, you're losing sales. And this is why I created the product, I created a workshop, I created a course, I created a conference to help you solve this problem. And this leads in with a story. So you can see that how this works in as an email. You can see how this works in as an ad, right? You can see how this works as a text message. Most people, what they do is, hey, I created the sound app, an app to help you change your words. And nobody buys that. Nobody opens an email. But if we lead in with a story and a hook, if I send you an email like that, hey, your name is your business tau fu fa, I guarantee 50% you open the email and see. And then you read, what this crazy guy trying to tell me what's nonsense story? And then, oh, sound app. This is fake, by the way, right? This sound app is not real, but most people will click that and see what is it. So thank you so much. I think I've got over my time. Thank you.